Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching this video. Since the last time I posted a video, I've been fairly busy. I was able to complete a circuit final in Los Angeles for the World Series of Poker, and I'll explain how that went here briefly. And then I just got back from a business trip from China literally just less than a day ago. Okay, so the reason I'm in Las Vegas is my son and I, Matthew, we're here to play in a World Series event. So we're gonna fire one bullet at the tag team event, which essentially is a full bracelet event. It's an opportunity for us to actually play together, because that's been something that we've bonded over. We always dreamed that we'd be able to do this together someday, so here we are. All right, Matthew, so I know in a few days we'll be playing this event together, and obviously, I know we're both excited about it. Share with people, how you observed, poker in our lives, growing up as a child.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear kind of from your perspective.
Well, one of my earliest memories overall, just for childhood in general, was sitting next to you whenever you go on a computer late at night just playing poker, and I just grab a stool and just sit next to you for hours way past my bedtime. So.
Oh, geez, making me sound like a bad parent here.
What I'm talking about.
Because I remember when we would play together, you would like to play with cards, and if there was other people, you did enjoy playing it. What is it about the game that you like about it?
At first, it was the bare minimum of thinking you can outsmart someone else, because, as you know, I'm very competitive with other people.
Mm-hmm.
But something just clicked. It was just fun watching you just figuring out, because you never explained the rules to me at first. I just had to figure out. So every time I'm like, oh, here comes the cards with the faces on it. That must be a good thing, since Dad looks pretty happy about getting that of all things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
one of your earliest memories of poker was me playing online. I was playing Poker Stars and Full Tilt Poker at the time, and just given my busy work schedule and our family schedule, it was easier to play online at that time than go play live and in person. But what's your earliest memory, or one of your fondest memories about playing in person as you were younger, whether it be with your friends or with a family unit or with other people?
the first instance was when you let me play on your account for the first time. And
Okay.
I did horribly. And then after you actually took the time to explain to me how everything worked, I don't remember the specifics, but it was just a random tournament online that no money was involved or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it was about 8,000 people, and I wrote this down somewhere, I don't remember where, but I think it was 200th place out of 8,000 people.
That's really good.
Pretty good, especially since I was 10 when you first let me actually use a computer.
Mm-hmm.
But an in-person event, not sure if you remember this, but the one time we went to Palm Springs together, we were at a hotel, and then there was a poker tournament going on with 20 people.
At the resort.
At the actual
They
resort,
had a family kind of thing.
just a family thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I was the only kid there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun because I felt a sense of accomplishment when I actually won it somehow,
Mm-hmm.
and I won a cheeseburger or something.
Right. Yeah, because it's a fun event.
It was just for
Yeah, I
fun.
remember that. Yeah, that was at the Marriott.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now, what about playing with friends and family? I remember we started playing with different families, like the Kings and the Konecki's.
Yeah, so just childhood friends of mine that we met through soccer of all things, right? And then you just invited them to come play poker one time, and then we all had fun. We had a big dinner party. We just played poker after, and then it just became a tradition after that, right?
Yeah, the thing that was nice about it is normally when families come with kids, the adults go off and do their thing, they might have some drinks and they're talking about the adult things, and the kids are off doing video games and the things that kids do. But we tried something different. We wanted to bring all the families together, and so everyone played poker, and we played for fun. I think all the adults paid $10 per entrant, and we did a tournament style, and we split the money up 3 ways for the top 3, and essentially everyone played. And so it was a great learning experience for those that didn't learn how to play. And we did that on a regular basis. I wouldn't say every week, but every few months we would come together, have some good food, good fellowship, and the whole night was around playing in this tournament style. And it was great because it brought all the kids together and the adults. it was just a nice bonding, because normally you wouldn't bond like with the whole family. And now I look back, at Josiah, he just graduated from engineering, and Becca, I won't go through the whole list of everyone, but to see them now moving on in their life and maturing and growing, I just feel like it's a stronger bond overall. So I think in that regard, poker was a really nice, experience, because it's not just about the money, winning bracelets and all that success that comes with it. It's really the love of the game and the competition and bringing people together, that fellowship. That's the part of the game that's amazing. And I think that's one of the reasons why the game is so popular around the world. I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh, it was great. Well, it's something I always look forward to, just seeing the Konakis and the Kings, just being able to have a nice dinner and playing poker, and then getting competitive with the other families once we implemented the trophy.
Oh, that's right. We got a trophy. Forgot about that. We had the family. It wasn't the family. It was like the Kodo Cup, right?
It's like, where we lived. We named it after where all the families live. So, yeah. But always looked forward to it, especially when I was still on the island. Just doing my service there and just coming home on leave. Just be able to, especially since you guys hosted the event around when I managed to come home too, since I didn't exactly get to stick
So
around.
we haven't introduced, because you're talking about service in Hawaii. Why don't you explain a little more about that?
There's nothing really much to it. Just another young, gullible kid who got somehow enlisted into the Marines, and just signed a dotted line and history was made. Just had nowhere really to go with I had no future aspirations for myself at the time. As you know, not exactly the best student in high school. I didn't applying myself at all. I found most of the work redundant, and I just did well in tests, so I figured, what's the point? I didn't care for school, so I figured I'll just go do this. And then it turns out I got a job that required a lot of studying anyway, so.
So you end up it was double. They say life experience is the most costly tuition, right? And we tend to look at other people's lives and see the outcomes or a snapshot of where they appear to be, but we don't see the struggle that went into that. And where you're ending up right now, I'm so proud of you. You're doing amazing, and you're not only in a great career, but more importantly, you're in a career that you really love. And it's so hard. If I think back to when I was younger and just starting out, I didn't really know what I wanted to do either. And to be able to marry something you're passionate about with something that has a high demand that pays well, it gives a lot of hope, I think, to people who are, not really sure where they are with their life and where they want to go, with some focus and trying different things that, there's so much opportunity out there, and everyone will take a different pathway to get there. There's no one way to do it.
Yeah, of course. I thought there's nothing wrong with failure, because I thought at high school I totally failed, because I barely got by senior year on the skin of my teeth, even though I had the least amount of classes out of any year so far. But that's what led me to Marines, and what gave me the very important job experience I needed to find a job that I'm not only good at, but I love doing. I knew I wanted to do aviation. Then I found out how expensive it is to be a pilot, then expanded my horizons a little bit. Managed to find air traffic control, which I was a bit skeptical about at first, because juggling people's lives in my hands was nerve-wracking, but just like any professional, it just takes experience and practice and the willingness to develop yourself in that field. So, yeah.
No, it's great. A good transition here is when we adopted Matthew, who's just a baby, obviously. He was only 6 months old, and we'll try to find some pictures to put in here so you can see that. Interestingly, we went back to Korea in 2018. I was going on a business trip, so Matthew and I traveled a few days prior to not only see the homeland where he's from, to give him a sense of his culture, where his biological parents are from, but we went to the adoption agency to just give him that homecoming experience. And it was a pretty cool experience. I'll have you talk to it a little bit as well. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, besides poker, something I always knew was how I was adopted. I didn't really question it at first, because you had the bright idea of letting me know right away. And besides the obvious about how you're clearly not Asian, I'm Asian, and mom's not Asian either, but it was very obvious to me, and I didn't think much of it, because it doesn't occur to me what the implications are behind that. So after I, started being a bit more smarter and understanding how the world works, I started getting questions. That's when I can just slowly adapt to it rather than just being told out of the blue, like sitting me down when I'm 16, like, hey, you're not our son, biologically at least. So it gave me that time to marinate that idea, how I'm still your son. Like, family just comes down to what you make of it, right? And it's just been a question of mine for so long, for the entirety of my life. This has been sticking with me for as long as I've been alive. What were the circumstances? Like, why? Why did I come to be? And especially with how high school was really rough. I was a brat and just felt like the world was out for me and all that. You know how it goes with teenagers. And you surprised me with this trip of going to Korea, my homeland, if you will. And it was such a surprise that when I got there, it just seemed incredibly surreal. I didn't know how to describe it. Besides how hot it was. It was
a really hot summer, yeah.
It was interesting just seeing just a whole bunch of other Koreans and feeling like an outcast almost. Like, I should have felt like I was at home, right? No, it was weird, it was bizarre just seeing a bunch of people speaking a language I don't know anything about. Even like the ones who could speak English commenting, oh yeah, we could tell you're from America, the way you dress, the way you walk, you get your skin tone, and I was like, oh, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? And then you mentioned how we were going to the adoption agency that handled everything for me. I was going into it just thinking I'd get to look at some files. You told me not to get my hopes up too much because they can only give away so much information. And then when we got there, it was just a shock when the one who was helping us, the worker there, who later turned out
the
to
counselor, the social worker.
Yeah, who later turned to be our interpreter as well. She mentioned how mom was looking for me since 2007, since I was around 6 years old. I don't know the exact statistics behind how often adopted people get to meet their biological families. I'd rather not know the answer to that. I know it's rare, but to think she's been looking for me for so long, and I had the incredibly rare blessing of being able to meet her, especially before I could legally make an actual inquiry of my own, because you have to be 18 before you can do that and actually put the application through. And I remember as soon as the social worker explained to us how she was looking for us and I was looking for the file, just learning their names for the first time. I didn't even know how to pronounce them or even read them, but they were right there, just the whole file. And then just dropping that huge bombshell, hey, you can meet her if you wanted to. We can reach out to her since you're consenting to an inquiry and she's been looking for you as well. So the rest of that day was not exactly relaxing. It was incredibly, I was anxious the whole time. Even as like you got me ice cream, we were walking around, just like looking around, eating great food. I couldn't get that off my mind. Just, I didn't want to get my hopes up. It was something I've like been yearning to know for so long. And then the next day we get to back to the agency. We dropped all of our plans we originally had going to DMZ. And as soon as we get there, I'm thinking this is, I am not ready for this. I don't think I'm ready for this. And I'll happily admit, I've cried twice in my life. One was regarding this, and then the other time was meeting her for the first time. It's probably the first time I ever saw you cry too, but yeah, just her opening the door, and then I forget exactly how you say it, but the social worker explained to me how to say hello, mother, in Korean for the first time, and I said that to her, and then she looked, like as soon as she stepped through the door, she looks at me, and I say that to her in Korean, and then she just breaks as well, and she like immediately comes up to me and hugs me. We were standing there for like a good 2 minutes maybe, just holding each other. I don't even remember how long it was. It felt like forever. And yeah, just getting a lot of closure, a lot of answers I've been dying to know for so long. It made me incredibly grateful.
Moments away. How do you say it? How do you say hello again?
안녕하세요.
안녕. Okay, come on in. 안녕하세요. Okay, come on in.
Matthew, are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. 여기. 안녕하세요, 엄마. 그럼 안 하시지 왜? 아들이 왔잖아, 우리.
I know it was like a real beautiful experience, you know, for you to have that closure. And you got, in meeting the family, there was a bit of a language challenge, so we used an interpreter. But the one interesting thing that we found out before, this is way before that he would go into the Marines, we discovered that his family history, he had a family of military, biologically. So like colonels, general, I think your grandfather was a colonel or
Something like that.
you know,
but,
so pretty high up in the South Korean military, who are always on high alert because of the North Korea situation. So she was living on a base, right, an actual military base. And so it's interesting that it's in your blood, and you found on your own this Marines pathway, and that seemed to be a great pathway for you. And here you are, you know, going into your next chapter here, moving and transitioning over to FAA for U.S. air traffic control outside of, you know, I guess in the civilian world.
Yeah.
No, so it was good. I actually have the video of that little couple video clips. It's very emotional, as you can imagine. But so anyway, so we got into a lot of stories here, but here we are going to start crying here. We're here to play poker, right? And
Boy.
right, and I know that, you know, depending on anyone's situation, like when we talked about coming to Las Vegas and it's here now and you're old enough now that you can play, it's like really exciting. So we're not worried about the outcome. You know, we're going to do our best. We're here to have fun, and we want to capture some of those moments. So on this video, you will see us, you know, maybe getting registered, sitting down, and here's some break commentary as well. We'll see Matthew's reaction sitting down the World Series for the first time, and we'll see how it goes. You know, should be a great time.
Oh boy.
It's like 2 a.m, 2:30, so I'm completely exhausted. But here we are. So I got him this sweatshirt. Oh, is this too tight on you?
It's tight around my chest, but yeah.
Let me see. Button it up. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's not too bad, right? It makes them look all buff. Okay, so let's see. Let's see where I'm sitting here. Shoot, we're kind of in the middle there. That sucks, huh? Oh, they got 9-handed. That's awesome. Here we are. How you feeling? Excited? This is like.
Objective survive, yes.
So I said we set little baby steps here, right? Let's make it to the first break. And then from there we make it to level 7, which I think is always a pivotal level.
Once
to start
again,
from
all
the beginning.
tag team members,
And then make
your
it past
first
10,
player
because we
does
play
not
11
have to
levels
be the
today.
captain. It can be the partner. Either one can check in at the table.
Okay, so now,
with their
when
dealer
you're-
copy.
for
Make
those that
sure
have
you
never
turn
played in the World
dealer copy
Series,
in, and
have
then
to-
present a photo
you have to show ID and
All
your
team
card.
members-
All right, I'll see you guys in a few minutes, hopefully. All right. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. So I flopped a set of 4s, and there's 3 diamonds on the board. So the player stayed in, and ended up on the turn another diamond came. So he raised pretty heavy, and he did have a big diamond for a flush. So I had to let go of the set of 4s. So, but beyond that, it was, you know, pretty basic from here. So hopefully Matthew has a good time. All right, so we're almost done level 2, and so far, for Matthew's first time, I know you're having a good time, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. So Matthew actually did a great job. He brought up our stack up 5,000, and Dad actually managed to bring it down 6,000. So we're a little lower, but when you factor in where the big blinds are, we're actually in really good shape. So plenty of poker to be played.
It's fine, but
Right, so you get to play the next level, so all the best. How are you feeling, if you could sum it up in a few words?
more relaxed.
All right. Okay. We're at level 3. I'm taking over here for Matthew, and we're down to less than 10 big blinds. So I don't know exactly what happened, but apparently he had 2 pair against a set. So let's see what happens. Let's see if I can get lucky and bring it up. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we didn't make it.
It's all my fault.
No, it's no one's fault. This is part of the game.
It was misplays and bad luck.
No, so the not let me tell you about the knockout hand. So we were down to 10 big blinds, and I had ace-9, and the opponent raised, so I called. Actually, I went all in rather, and then he called me, and he had king-6 offsuit, and the flop came. I'm still ahead, and then on the turn he gets a king. So we were significantly ahead, but of course we didn't win. And we just had, I would say, not the best luck in this game, because Matthew had pocket queens against 7s, and he went all in pre-flop against 7s, and 7s ended up turning a straight, but we kind of got lucky because the river gave a straight as well. So they chopped the board, but really hard to get ahead, because anytime we have premium hands, they're either getting beat or they're getting chopped, which means that you share with the other person. So this one wasn't meant to be. However, it was still the World Series of Poker. We had a chance to play together, and it was fun, right?
It was fun, but I'm a little bitter. My ace kings, my ace queens got no results. Only just.
Yeah, that's part of the game. You know? So you got to take the good and the bad, as they say. So anyway, well, better luck next time. And
I'm already motivated to do better for next year.
But the good news is we still have more poker to play, and we're gonna have fun. All right. Okay, so I'm back home now. Wow, that was quite the drive to get home. But I'm really, really happy to be back. It was a great experience. As you saw in from the video, it was a great bonding experience with my son, and he did well, which I'm so happy about. This is the end of the Las Vegas trip.
Well, tournaments, as per usual, went horrendously. I went and played some cash games. I had a few ups and downs. Thankfully, managed to end up with a profit during this entire trip. That's even including all the expenses. So I'm walking away happy.
That's good. So now what I want to do is I want to provide you some perspective on how I performed. And I focused mostly on tournaments. I did a couple little small cash games, but it was really more tournaments. And for those of you that haven't done tournaments before, they're really hard. They're difficult to make money on. They're difficult to even make the money, because it's usually the top 10 or 15% of people that earn money. And when you play on the big stage at the WSOP, it's very rare that you can come back and say you won money. But I'm really happy to report overall, I did earn money, just under $6,000 profit from the tournaments, which I'm really happy about. And I'm going to show you a couple things. So there's a video here I have of Pocket Kings where I actually hit a set. And I want to show you some of the good ones, because oftentimes it's easy for me to complain or others to complain that, hey, I had a bad beat and this is what prevented me from doing so well. But essentially, in this particular situation, I hit a set, and someone whispered, oh, they hit a straight on the river. By the way, the board came out, but it actually didn't happen. And so my set held up. You'll see a photo where I get pocket aces, which was great. And I got really lucky in this one hand where I was on the bubble, close to making money. And I actually made the money in this particular WSOP event. I had Jack 10, went all in. I got called by a better hand, like Jack Queen. And it just so happened that I ended up getting a straight, which was great. I got so lucky, and I feel really blessed about that. So I had some very good fortunate situations to help me, make the money on some of these tournaments. And there was one tournament I was playing, was the mini main event. It was the $1,000 buy-in, really nice big prize pool. I think the winner got $700,000 or $800,000 for first place. And I'm on the money bubble, like we're close. When I say the bubble, like we're within 20 people of getting into the money. And I wake up with pocket queens. So I decided to go all in. I had about 15 big blinds, but just based on the vibe of the table, I felt that was the right play. And it so happened I do get called. I get called by Ace King. And you can see the photo here. And if you look at how this played out, I hit a set of queens, which is great. That's 3 of a kind. And the person with Ace King actually paired up one of their hands. Well, the turn and the river come to give this individual a full house, like really, really bad luck. If you run the sim on that, you know, the chances of that happening is exceptionally low, really bad luck. But when you look at some of the other good luck I have, it is what it is. So I didn't make it into the money for that one. But overall, really pleased with my tournament results. Had a great time, really feel blessed to be able to play tournaments. And I look forward to reporting back on my next tournament series. Thank you for watching.